Hi, I'm Lauren from LSP Actions and welcome to the video tutorial for the angel wing digital background. This is Waiting, the layered digital background for Photoshop. If you haven't already, please go ahead and open up your layers panel, and if you haven't watched video 1, I do recommend it because I could show you how to open your layers panel and a little bit of information about these wings. For this tutorial I'm going to be using the LSP Overlay Applicator Actions to add a subject. If you don't have these actions and you prefer to do it by hand, you can watch the video tutorial for the heart angel wings. Even though it's a different background, the technique is exactly the same. And that will show you how to do it by hand. I'm trying to cover as many bases in these tutorials as possible. You can find all the video tutorials for all the different angel wings over at lsp-actions.com on the video tutorials section of the website to watch anytime. So I'm going to be using the add a subject here because it just does everything for you, but I'll also be talking through how to add by hand. So I've clicked the actions here. You can get these on the website. They don't come with the angel wings, I use them for everything. And go ahead and locate the image on your computer. If you're doing this manually, come up here to File and choose Place Embedded. The light's coming from a different direction, so I'm just going to choose Flip Horizontal for this image. And again, if you're not using the actions, if there's anything that you're unsure of, if you watch the video tutorial for the heart angel wings, I go through that manually by hand. But because I'm using the actions, it's just doing it all for me. It's just a lot quicker. And if you're doing it manually, all you need to do is add a layer mask down here where it says layer mask after adding your subject. And then you need to zoom in and do the cutout. If at any point the cutout's not right, whether you've done it by hand or the actions have done it for you, if you're on Creative Cloud, you can come up here to Select and choose Select and Mask. If you're on an older version of Photoshop, you may not have this option. You might need to do it by hand, which is one of the reasons I really recommend Photoshop Creative Cloud, just because it's so handy for the masking. So you can see here, I'm just going over any semi-transparent areas just to refine them a little bit. I'm going to go over onto the layer mask and invert the selection. If you're not sure how to invert the selection, come up here to Select and choose Inverse. And that just makes it backwards, really, so you've got selected everything else. I've just added some transparency in there. Next up, you'll see in the Layers panel, you have a shadow over the subject. If for some reason it's come loose, you can right-click and choose Create a Clipping Mask, and that means it's only going to affect your subject layer. Grab a brush, set to white, and we're just going to add some shadowing over the subject, just to blend our subject in a little more. You can also add your own editing layers by coming down to the adjustment menu. I like levels, you can also add curves. I'm just going to add a little bit more brightness to our subject here. Control or Command I to inverse, which takes it all to black, which means it's hidden, and then you can paint this on with a white brush. Just need to be careful not to overlap with those shadows because I do want that darkness coming in on the bottom of the subject here. And then underneath this you have Paint Shadow under your subject, and this does exactly what it says on the tin. What I like to do is right click the brush menu and squish this brush down a little bit. And using a white brush, this just makes it a lot more realistic to add those shadows. You can also, I'm just going back to a normal brush now, you can also, if you've shot on a similar colour background, which I do recommend, you can add a little bit of your own background back in, and what that will do, it will just help blend the shadows a little bit more. So let's see there before and after. On this digital background, you also have an extra layer called Paint the Dress Blue. And this will add a blue paint. So if you've got a solid dress, a solid outfit, anything like that, you want blue to match this background, I've added a blue paint in there. So you simply click on the black layer mask, grab a brush set to white, and you can paint this on, and it will convert any colour to blue. On pure black and very pales and whites, the effect will be less. So if you've got a nice mid-tone area, you can paint that blue, and it will just match the digital background even more, so it'll look even more blended. The thing about digitals, it's about the blending, noticing the light direction, adding in the shadows to match, and then if you can do that, you're 2/3 of the way there with the digital background. So you can see I'm just painting this blue colour on. If for some reason the clipping mask has come off, you can right click and choose create a clipping mask, and that means even if you paint over here, it's not going to affect the background. It will only affect your subject. I'm just going to use a black brush. I'm just going to lightly take that off the belly a little bit because this dress has some transparency in it. Black means hide and white means show. I've also noticed here there's a little bit we missed cutting out. So on your subject layer mask, click on that, grab your brush set to black. I'm going to just make the brush harder by right clicking and choosing hardness. And the same as you're editing manually on Elements or older versions of Photoshop, any version of Photoshop, you can just paint black on that layer mask and it will just hide any areas of that image. White to show, black to hide. I like to keep my index finger on the keyboard, and that way I can switch between black and white really easily. So white is showing the original image and black is hiding it. Keyboard shortcuts are really, really helpful in Photoshop. And there we go. So let's see before and after. So that's before and after. If you're using the overlay actions, again, these do not come with the set, but you can grab them on the website. They also come with these extra editing layers, for example, blurring the digital background, and you can add your own blurring to the digital, and that will blur the whole background there. And you can change the blur just by clicking on it. So if you want to add a little bit more blur to these digital backgrounds, you can. Ooh. There's me clicking, accidentally applying an action. So that's using the LSP Angel Wing. This one's called Waiting Digital Background. I hope you love this one. Again, the disclaimer, this was created using some AI elements for the background, and I really hope you enjoy this. I'm Lauren, thanks for watching.